and Chief France 24 sports editor Kedivan Gorjestani. The football world is stunned.
Yes, it is simply the biggest shock in recent football history. Germany, the defending champions, out in the group stages. It hadn't happened since 1938. Germany were out of this competition after a very disappointing match against South Korea. The Germans had one job to do to make it through. They had to beat the South Koreans, and on paper, they shouldn't have been too much of a trouble, but they weren't able to do that. The South Korea scoring two very late goals in the 94th and 96th minute of this game against Germany. The Germans, who could have still managed to go through with a draw, but in the other game of this group, the result there not going into their favor either, because Sweden beat Mexico 3-0, which meant that the Germans were sent home by the Swedes. The Mexicans and the Swedes are through to the last 16. Really not the results that we were expecting from this group ahead of this tournament. The Germans, who were, of course, one of the three big favorites for the title. So really seeing them out after just 3 games and 3 disappointing games, because remember that the previous game, they only managed to win at the very last minute with a last-second goal. So really a shocking exit, a disappointing exit, huge humiliation for the Germans, and this is going to be a big crisis for the German team.
Yeah, because the coach, Joachim Löw, had just signed a contract extension.
Yes, well, that might not be going through after this humiliating exit. The German coach, Joachim Löw, who was widely criticized for his tactical decisions. Last time he had taken off Mesut Ozil, for example. This time Mesut Ozil was on the pitch. He really didn't have a great game, if you can say even maybe a bad game. So Jogi Löw's decisions today very much criticized by the Germans, and it's safe to say that there will be questions as to whether or not he will stay in charge of the Nationalmannschaft.
Yeah, and Sweden defeating Mexico 3-0. The Mexicans nonetheless through, thanks to their defeat in the opening match of Germany. And just a word